I was telling you in last week's pep talk that we had a very, very exciting event that happened right next to my house last week. There was Natalie Portman, who is apparently a very, very famous actor. In fact, I think that I read that she won the Academy Award. So she was mamash like right next to my street filming a movie based on the autobiography of the writer, of the Israeli author Amos Oz, called A Tale of Love and Darkness, which is quite possibly my favorite book ever written. It's a story of Amos Oz's life, and it specifically it talks about so Amos Oz was born in 1939. So he talks about like growing up in the very, very beginning stages of the British Mandate and of the birth of the State of Israel, and living through the War of Independence, etc. But I think like the main sort of subject of the book, sort of the underlying theme of the entire book, is Amos Oz's mother, and her struggle with mental illness and depression, and her tragic suicide at the age when Amos Oz was only 12 years old. So you can imagine it's a very, very sad book, but also very exquisite and very moving. So last week, while they were doing the filmings, it was very, very exciting. Even though I really don't know who Natalie Portman is, I did see her in the Star Wars movies, I guess a while back. So I have actually seen one movie with her. But since that Star Wars movie that I saw about 10 years ago, I really have no idea what she's been up to, and I don't know anything about her. So I looked her up actually on the internet. I looked up like an image to find out what she looked like. And one day actually I was walking home from the market with my kids, and I saw her. So I actually said to her, I said to her, welcome to the neighborhood, and she said, thank you. So that was like my brush with Hollywood fame, right here on my street in Achlod. But so usually most of the time with this, they set up this really amazing sort of Hollywood style set, which is something I think pretty much unseen up until this point in Israel. They're making big deal about how like it was a whole different kind of like level of set design and stuff than what we usually see in Israel. And they set up the street exactly like a Jerusalem street during the Israeli War of Independence. So there were all like these all these old Israeli signs up, and there was like laundry hung up on like recreated from actual photographs that they had, like what an actual street looked like, and how they from the time of the war, from the war of 1948, and they had like this laundry hung up across the street, and they had like a horse and a donkey, and they had broken glass and they had like soldiers from that period, and but I didn't really see so much, because every time I would walk by, then because I have to walk by there to get basically almost anywhere that I needed to go, I would have to walk by the movie set, but they would sort of rush me by, like, they're filming, go by, quickly. So I didn't really see so much of the filming and of what was going on, but my friend Sharon, so she lives, her apartment, her windows are exactly overlooking where they were doing the filming. So she and her daughter Ruthie, they could have just sat the whole day and just like watched Natalie Portman and all the filming the whole day. But I don't think that they did. But so I asked Sharon a few days ago if she had taken any photographs, if she had any photographs to show me of the filming. So she proudly opened up her phone and she showed me. She said, "Okay, look at this." She says, "I have Natalie Portman talking with Amos Oz." So I asked her, well, which one is Natalie Portman? She showed me, and this is Amos Oz, and and I have to say, like, I have been thinking about this. I've been thinking about this photograph since she showed it to me, like mid last week. I've been thinking about this photograph, and I've been thinking about Amos Oz, who was orphaned at the age of 12. What it must have been like for him to come to to a Jerusalem street that looks which had been set up to look eerily like the street where he grew up in Kerem Avram, which is a little bit further away, and like children dressed. There was like a whole bunch of little boys dressed up to they were reenacting, like playing I guess Amos Oz's childhood friends, and like seeing look what it must have been like for him to like come and see this scene exactly taken out of his childhood. And to be standing with Natalie Portman, dressed to look like his mother, before she committed suicide 63 years ago, And I was just thinking, like, what? So in Sharon's picture, like, Amos Oz is like, gesticulating and using his, apparently, like, it looks like he's explaining something, and I just have to wonder, like, what he told her. What did the orphan, now 75 years old, what did he tell this woman, and what a crazy, surreal experience it must have been for him to be standing with this woman, all of a sudden transported back, I don't know, back so many years, and standing with this woman playing his mother. What it must have, like, what kind of emotions, what kind of powerful emotions and mixed emotions he must have felt to be standing there. So the weird thing is that so afterwards, when they were filming the movie, then any time I had sort of this interesting reaction. So, I was like in my house. Most of the time I'm in my house, I'm doing stuff in my house, I'm taking care of my own kids, wiping noses and changing diapers and giving kids lunch and giving kids dinner, putting kids to bed and doing whatever I'm doing, and like living my humdrum Jewish mom life. But it was a weird experience last week because, right next door there was like this really exciting thing happening. Like this famous actress, Natalie Portman's right next door to me, and I'm like stuck in my house doing my humdrum Jewish mom stuff. And so I really felt this mixed feeling, like I wanted to just run out and and I just want to run out and be all the time at the movie set. Like, why am I stuck in doing my boring humdrum Jewish mom life when I could be, in like with this really exciting things happening right next door? But then I had like this realization that all of this hullabaloo and all of this like excitement was about what? It was about, a Jewish mom, Amos Oz's mother, and her relationship with her son. That was what all this action, all this excitement, all this Hollywood, and all this millions and millions of shekels which have been put into this production. It's all about that. It's about a relationship between a mother and her child. And it really made me feel, all of a sudden, when I saw it that way, I realized, my humdrum, boring Jewish mom life is actually like this. This is what all the drama of life is about. It's about this. It's about this central relationship, a mother and a child. And a weird thing happened last week. Like after, when all this filming was going on, then almost every single day of the week, I had some sort of interaction involving like a child without a mother, a child who was struggling because that child did not have a mother. I had last week one day I heard about there's a child without a mother, and the child didn't have a winter coat, so I was like running around trying to find a winter coat for this child. Then another day there's another child whose mother is not taking care of this child. Mother is not really in the picture. And what are we going to do? How are we going to help to take care of this child who's being severely neglected by basically an absent mother? Another day, that I was at this birthday party, and a woman was talking about how she said, I have this amazing news to tell you. She said, well, I was adopted, and she said, and since I'm 16 years old, I have been looking for my mother. I've been looking for her, and this woman probably was in her probably early 60s, and she was so excited because she ended up finding through DNA testing, she ended up finding a first cousin who was able to tell her about who her parents were, and and then again, like I saw, like another day I was in touch with, like, there was another mother I know, who's now going through like a big crisis in her life, and she was orphaned as a young child, and I was just looking at her, I was just seeing like how her whole life has been a struggle, and how she suffers so much because of that, because she did not have a mother. Her mother, I guess like Amos Oz, was mentally ill and wasn't in the picture, and then ultimately didn't commit suicide, but died when this girl was very young. So I just, like, every single day, it was just like for some reason Hashem, it was like, outside they were filming the tale of love and darkness, and also in my life, like all around me, I was just seeing the tale of love and darkness, like what it's like for a child to grow up with a mother, to grow up without a mother, really, and it made me just appreciate. Okay, I'm going to just say, like, I want to bless me and bless all of us. I think that we Jewish moms, like, we have a tendency to give ourselves such a hard time. Like, we feel so guilty. You know, like, we're not good at this. Like, we're, you know, if only we could cook better, if only we were better housekeepers, if only we were better mothers, if only we would be, you know, playing more games with our kids, if only we would be giving our kids more attention, if only we could buy our kids more presents, if only we could do whatever. You know, if only we could be more patient and more patient and more patient. And I'm not saying, I'm saying, like, I think that we should, like, be slowly and, you know, slowly trying to work on ourselves to be better and better. But I think that we don't appreciate enough, you know, what it means for a child to be growing up with, like, a functional mother, to be growing up with a mother who's there, who's, you know, who's, like, in the house, who's basically being a good enough mother, who's there, you know. And I'm not saying you don't have to be perfect. I'm just saying I think that seeing these situations and being reminded of Amos Oz's own personal tragedy, it reminds me, you know, it reminds me of, like, what it means, like the biggest gift you are giving your child ever is that of just being with them, being a mother. They come home, there's a mother there. You know, they go to sleep, there's a mother there. They wake up in the morning, there's a mother there. And you're not perfect, and I'm not perfect, and none of us are perfect. But we're trying, and we're doing our, you know, we're doing pretty good, and we're good enough. I think all of us are good enough, you know. And what a gift we are giving our children. And so I want to just bless all of us, that we shouldn't forget that. You should remember, like, on days when you're feeling like, I'm not good at this, I'm not good enough at this, I'm not good enough at this, and if only I was this, if only I was this, and if only da da da, and the feelings of the guilt and regret and da da and shame even. And you should remember, there are kids growing up in the world without mothers. There really are. There are quite a few of them. To remember what the gift, the ultimate gift that you are giving your child. You're giving your child a mother. I want to bless all of you Jewish moms with an amazing, amazing week.